This is a Culture Inject production.
Have you seen Death at a Funeral?
Yes.
With Alan Tudyk, right?
What a film. Yeah. The original one, not the dodgy
Yeah, the
remake.
original. Yeah, I mentioned it
did
before. Chirag hadn't seen it and I was like, you have to watch it because it's like Alan Tudyk. And because it's like this American actor just plonked in the middle of this like very dark British comedy, it's like even funnier because he's just so hilarious.
Ultimate fish out of water situation.
Yeah. They're just like the most subtle moments that they're just the funniest things ever. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Like for sure, it's just so hilarious.
It's Peter Dinklage, isn't it?
Yeah.
Later of Got fame.
But I think he's in both that one and the remake.
I think he is, yeah.
Yeah. Because
he's just that good. That and if you haven't seen it, I absolutely recommend seeing The Station Agent.
I have not seen that one.
Fantastic film. Yeah, it's Peter Dinklage is kind of a train nerd, and his friend dies and gives him a train station, so he moves to like look after it. And like it's one of those films where nothing really happens, but it's still really it's just a brilliant character study, and Dinklage is brilliant in it. So yeah, well worth watching.
I do. Most of my favourite films are films where nothing really happens. You know, films, there's not like a specific beginning, middle, end, like something that they have to overcome or do. It's just like, here's a few days in this person's life and now the film's ended. I like films like that because I feel like, especially nowadays, films are like way too grand for their own good and too long and try to make things too complicated and too many plot points. And it's just like, oh, come on. I kind of like a good laid-back, chilled film with good characters.
So at the end of the day, it's all about the characters. If you have good characters, everything else springs from that and is brilliant. I think that's one of the reasons why Joss's work is still just as strong now as it's ever been, because he just knows how to write amazing characters. And
like I said,
that carries a lot.
Like in Firefly, they've all got their own essence that they bring to the show, and the show wouldn't be the same if you took any of them out. It would like ruin the whole dynamic. Whereas there's a lot of shows that I just can't get a hold of because there's like at least one character that I'm kind of like, and then it just loses my interest.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I've been rewatching 12 Monkeys and watching it now, there's one character and I just cannot stand them. And every time they're on screen, they're doing something annoying. And I'm just like, Jesus, will you just leave the show already? I'm done with you.
I'm done with you. I've not watched it, actually. I've seen the film.
It's a really amazing series. Absolutely worth watching.
I can imagine that from, like, say, seeing the film, that it would make a good TV show.
Because it goes way beyond what the film covers. Like the film is kind of very, very, very loosely adapted into the first season. And then seasons 2, 3, and 4 just go to something completely different. But yeah, it's well worth watching if anyone needs. Although the only problem is it's quite hard to find the 4th season because it's not on any streaming services. I ended up having to import the DVD so I could see it, which was quite annoying.
Oh really? I hate when that happens.
Freaking sci-fi, they ruin everything.
In the UK at least, on Amazon, they'll give you like the first season or the first few episodes, and then it's on like a specific channel or whatever within Amazon. Yep. So you have to buy like all these different TV packages. And I don't know, unless you can go to like a secondhand store and get like the old box sets. Yeah, it's quite difficult. But I keep all my DVD box sets for like my old favourite TV shows so that I know I can always see them no matter what.
Indeed. That's why I still have so many DVDs, because you never know when they're going to pull some stupid, like, oh, we haven't got the rights for that anymore, and just take off like half the season. Yeah. It's so irritating.
Yeah, it's always on there. It's always the one thing you want to watch that isn't on any streaming service known to man.
Yep. Well, I mean, like, this 12 Monkeys came out, like, 5 or 6 years ago, I think. And I've been waiting this long to see the last season, because it wasn't available anywhere.
Anywhere,
like, you couldn't even buy it off Amazon. You had to, like, buy it to stream on Amazon. You had to just buy the DVD.
Oh, do you know what I watched on Netflix? I'm Not Okay With This, which was just one season. It's from like a comic book or a graphic novel, I think, which I should read now because it got cancelled after that one season. But it's like the only thing I really watched and got into like last year or whenever it was on Netflix. And when I heard they'd cancelled it, I'm like, why? There are so many worse TV shows that you're keeping. And
wasn't that from
brilliant.
The same guy that did End of the Fucking World?
I'm not sure. I watched the first season of End of the Fucking World, but I haven't watched the second one.
Don't.
I thought it was going to be much better. From what people had said, I thought it was going to be much better than it was, and I was disappointed. I kind of enjoyed it. It was weird and quirky, but it was also kind of like,
yeah.
So yeah, just
it's one of those shows where I
second.
watched the first season with like, it's all right, but I feel no desire to ever go back and watch it again. Like, I've watched it now, and that's fine. And I enjoyed it, but I'm never going to need to revisit it. And the second season is just, I actually feel a bit bad. I sat through the whole thing. It was not good.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah.
I have to say, TV-wise, the only show I've really watched and enjoyed in the past like couple of years is probably The Nevers. I did also enjoy Lock and Key, which was on Netflix, but that was quite. I felt like even though it's quite scary-ish, it was also quite kid-aimed. So yeah, and I'm not sure how that's gonna go. But I'm mostly into anime, to be fair, because I feel like with anime you have this world where you can do anything you want and the animation's amazing and the voice acting, like the Japanese voice acting is incredible, and there's just so much more to like.
I feel kind of bad. I watched Lock and Key for Pop, because it's based on a graphic novel by Stephen King's kid.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it for the comic book sites I write reviews for without having read the comics first, and so I just sort of went in to see how it was. And I really didn't like it. I just absolutely tore into it. I feel kind of bad now. I went back and read a few of the reviews, and I may have been unnecessarily savage a couple of times.
Like I say,
there were a couple of decent episodes, but on the whole, I was not a fan.
Hey, check it out. We're here.
Welcome to Key House.
I could never get your father to talk about his life here.
My kids need a home.
Does it have to be this home?
Hello? Are you my echo?
Yes.
I enjoyed it, but like I said, it was a bit more kiddie level. And I find myself, and it's the same, I find myself frustrated watching like Stranger Things and stuff. It's kind of like, all these kids are going off on their own and these own little adventures, not contacting each other, not speaking to each other. And when I feel like a whole show would not would be resolved if the main characters had literally taken 2 seconds to speak to each other, then I don't really enjoy it, because I feel like if they could have resolved it all that easily, what's really capturing me to watch it? Do you know what I mean?
Engineered drama. Yeah. Have you seen The OA on Netflix?
My parents-in-law were watching it, and I think I kind of saw a little bit of it, and I was like, what is this?
It's one of the best shows released in a very long time.
Oh,
and
really?
It's the reason I'll never forget. Yeah. First season is fantastic. Second season starts off a bit slow, but ends brilliantly, and ends on one of the best cliffhangers I've ever seen in a television series. And then Netflix cancelled it.
She's our daughter.
Who are these people?
But she's never seen us before. 7 years ago, when she went missing, she was blind.
Mom?
Do you remember any of the events that led up to your disappearance?
I'm trying to think. What going back years and years now to like when Sky was kind of first a big thing. One thing we watched and we love as a family is something called The 10th Kingdom, and it's not a lot of people know about it, but it's like a fairy tale realm essentially. But it's fantastic, and it's a mini series that they kind of put on as like, I think it was like 3 weeks in a row. It was like a 2-hour movie they put on, so it's like 6 hours or something in total, I think. And yeah, we watch it all the time. And when it finished, we were like, oh, I can't wait until the next one's out. But yeah, never done anymore. Another thing was a series there's a TV show called Taken, which is about aliens, that had Dakota Fanning in it and Paul Rudd. I think that's got 2 seasons, and it does kind of round off, but it would have been great if that had gone on a bit longer. That's a really good TV show. And then there was another one. No, sorry. Was that Invasion? No, Taken, I think that's right. Invasion, I think, is the one that was on, I'm thinking a few years ago, but it's probably more like 15 years ago. It was on Sky, and that was about aliens as well, but it's really weird because it was like in a town, and I think they were like in the water, and it wasn't until the very last episode you see one of the, like, a guy go in the water, and I think you see one of them for like the first time, and it got cancelled. So you literally watch this whole series and you never find out anything, and it got cancelled, and you're just like, oh, it just got to like the point where we want to know.
That's so lame.
And yeah, that was Invasion, I think.
I'd be freaking furious about that.
Oh, it was so, and it is, because you've taken this time to watch it, like watch a whole series of TV. Yeah. Knowing there's never going to be any more, and yeah, and I think that's the trouble with Netflix.
Did you watch Dark Matter?
That's like a spacey sci-fi one, isn't it?
Yes.
I think I've seen a little bit. My brother watches that.
It was very much in the kind of Farscape Firefly mold, sort of ensemble crew, sort of vaguely criminal adjacent, just trying to survive, get dragged into scary nonsense. And it started off quite slowly, but it just got better and better as it went on. And then they freaking cancelled it just as they were reaching like the climax of the whole story. Like the whole show was building up to this one thing, and it started, and then they cancelled it.
Yeah, this is the trouble. This is my thing with Netflix. I did actually just get rid of my Netflix. I was like, I don't know why I'm paying for this and never watch anything on it. Because I can't bring myself to like trawl through, find something that looks vaguely interesting, and kind of like try out a new show when I like with the outlook that I think I'm not going to enjoy it, or that if I do enjoy it, they're going to cancel it.
Yeah,
I'm kind of.
I remember when Netflix were like the people that never they were famous for never cancelling anything, and then suddenly they were like, yeah, you know what, this isn't working for us. We're going to be super savage and just cancel everything. It's like, fuck,
yeah.
Man.
I mean, they're making such big budget stuff, and like every big name actor now is moving to TV, and yeah, they're just cancelling everything, because they were also the kind of people famous for reviving things.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that show of yours got cancelled, right into Netflix, and they'll probably make it, kind of thing.
Yeah. Veronica Mars was said by Netflix, wasn't it?
Was that Netflix? Yeah, maybe.
Or I think they were one of the contenders.
But yeah, I feel like we live in a very dangerous time for TV.
That's why I'm quite worried about the upcoming adaptation of The Sandman. Like, it's one of my all-time favourite comic books. Absolutely love that series. And Netflix are adapting it, and I was very worried. First I was worried they were going to screw it up. But apparently Neil's like super involved, so that he should keep it relatively close to the source material. And then I'm just very worried they're going to get like the first 2 or 3 books and then just drop it. Fingers crossed that pays off, because for what we've seen of like the cast and the crew and the sort of sets and stuff, it looks like it's going to be mind-blowing.
I was we're rewatching Angel at the minute, and we just watched. It's funny because a few episodes ago I remember saying that I feel like in one of the behind the scenes Firefly things, one of the producers or whatever talks about how Summer Glau was a dancer, and I was like, I don't know if I'm recalling that right, but I think it was right, and that's why she's very good at moving. And that was in the Safe episode where she's kind of like dancing up on the little gazebo-y thing. And then we're watching Angel, and there's the ballet episode, and I didn't realise, I'd completely forgotten that I was like, oh, I love this episode. I'd completely forgotten that it was Summer Glau.
Yeah.
And it completely looks like 100% it is her dancing, so I was like, oh, this kind of, I must not have been imagining it. She was a dancer.
No, 100%, because also they work it into sort of almost all her shows. There's she was in the Sarah Connor Chronicles playing a Terminator, and they still found a way to make her do ballet for a bit. Like she's actually a very accomplished ballerina.
I was about to say that I was speaking to a friend of mine earlier who is also a big Joss Whedon fan, and he was saying that Summer Glau unfortunately seems to kill TV shows. And I was like, that's a shame because she's fantastic. He's like, yeah, but everything she's in gets cancelled. And Sarah Connor Chronicles is one of those. Yeah, he's not wrong. Same as Dollhouse. He was like he put her in Dollhouse, and then Dollhouse got cancelled. I was like, yeah, but you know, she was a really good character in Dollhouse.
She was, yeah.
Yeah. And then I just start thinking about how sad I am.
Sean Bean, whenever he shows up, he dies. Summer Glau, whenever she shows up, the show dies.
Sean Bean died. I feel like Sean Bean is all I always say to people is like the actor that's died the most in anything.
Yep.
Like when you watch something with Sean Bean and he doesn't die. Actually, do you know one of the funny things? He's in the first Silent Hill like live action film. He's in that and he doesn't die. But I'm not sure. I think he's in the third one as well, or the second one that they made, which I haven't watched because it looked awful. So I'm not sure if he dies in that one. But he didn't die in Silent Hill, which is shocking because like it's a horror film.
Everything dies in Silent Hill.
Everything dies. But I always know because one of my favourite films is Equilibrium, and I mean he dies right at the beginning of that one. A show that I am enjoying on Netflix is the Snowpiercer.
7 years ago, the world ended. Now the train is all that's left. First, the weather changed. In the final days of the freeze, the rich retreated to an ark.
Oh, is that any good? I haven't started watching it.
Yeah, season 1's really good. Season 2 is really good. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Excellent. I might have to move that up the list.
I also love Jennifer Connelly, who is in it. She's fantastic.
Is she?
She's one of my...
she's like the lead, isn't she? Or the antagonist.
She's one of my favourite actresses who doesn't, often get a chance to do a lot. I feel like, growing up as a watcher of The Labyrinth.
Oh, yes.
Which is my sister's kind of like all-time favourite film. So we've watched it a ridiculous amount of times. It's one of our favourites. So, yeah, she's fantastic.
It's understandable. I remember I was just absolutely elated. I was in Forbidden Planet in central London, and I found a box set of Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, and Mirror Mask for like a tenner. I was like, mate, there is no way I'm letting anyone else have that. That is mine.
That is
3
mine.
absolute classic films for dirt cheap. I need it.
I need it.
Did you see the Dark Crystal series?
I loved it.
I know, right? And then it got freaking cancelled because Netflix cancels everything.
Yes, and do you know what? And this is my thing. It's like puppetry takes so much money because it's like these people have a real craft and it takes a lot of work and they did it so well. And it's just really sad because like you look at the film and the film's fantastic, but you can tell that, it was made, in a time they maybe didn't have as much budget and as much time or whatever to make it, so everything's and then you look at the show and how amazingly fantastic like everything looks. I actually shared after I saw the back, like they did like a blooper reel. If you haven't watched it, no, honestly, if you haven't watched it, go on YouTube, find the blooper reel from the Dark Crystal series and watch it. It is like it will not fail to make you happy. It's so brilliant because seeing puppets like do bloopers is just brilliant.
Did it again. Live for your emperor! They've buggered off. They've gone on Typical lunch. Musicians Union. Ging-gang-goody, goody, 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 watcha, ging-gang-goo, ging-gang-goo.
Yeah. I will absolutely have to check that out as soon as possible. That sounds hilarious. I've
shared it a couple of times like on my social media because it's just one of my favourite things. But yeah, again, because I love puppetry. I love anything with kind of real special effects, and it's just a real shame that that's after it's had so much effort put into it, and it seemed like they'd really pushed for it to be one of their most successful shows, and I think it was received really well by a lot of people.
Yeah.
I was really shocked that they cancelled it, and I thought, really, I was thinking it's probably they're thinking they can make 5 shows for the same price they can make that one.
Which is probably true, to be fair. But they probably make 5 shows that are terrible for the price of one show that's amazing. So
exactly.
It's a bit of a shit deal.
So I was hoping...
Didn't they announce it was cancelled on the same day they announced it won like 4 Emmys or something?
I think so. That's what I'm saying. It got received really well.
Insane.
And they cancelled it. And I'm kind of hoping that possibly because, Jim Henson and Disney, I'm hoping that Disney Plus might at some point, Disney might pick it up. Because it would be fantastic, yeah. Because it's just really sad because, you know where the TV show's heading because you've seen the movie. So you're already sad and a little bit like, oh, you know where it's going to go. But I feel like I need to watch it again. I got so into it. And I got so like emotionally involved with these characters. And they're puppets.
Yeah.
It's like...
Henson know what they're doing, man. Like, did you see Farscape?
Farscape, I've watched a little bit. I've not watched all of it. But I've heard that
it's absolutely worth digging into. It's one of my all-time favorite TV shows, and like the puppet work in that, it's all done by the Henson Company, and it really shows how good they are. Like, there's characters in that are completely puppets, but you absolutely relate to them on a human level because they're so brilliantly made. It's impossible not to see them as what they kind of look like rather than just seeing them as a puppet. You have to see them as the character they're portraying because they're so lifelike. No,
I do love puppetry. I think it's an amazing, especially when you see the puppeteers and the like small spaces they have to be like crammed into, and the weird positions like all day, every day with these like heavy things on, and you're just kind of like, wow, what a craft.
Sad that it's kind of dying out because it is one of the great crafts.
Same as stop motion animation, another one of my favourites.
Very much so, yeah. Like Aardman are really the only people, and like Studio Laika are still doing it, and amazing.
Laika's just announced a new project called Into the Wild. Yeah, Into the Wild. I think it's from a series of books that I've not heard of, but we'll have a look at now.
Yeah.
But because their last film was The Missing Link, which was good, but I feel like more kid aimed. Whereas Kubo, oh wow, Kubo and the Two Strings. Honestly, if you've not seen this film, you have to watch it. Like, the storyline's fairly predictable because it's for kids, but at the same time, the animation and the art, the film, I could sit down and watch that anytime. I love it.
Like, even if you don't give a hoot about the story, just watching it for the artistry of the animation is worth it.
100%.
The quality of the production is just unmatched.
Yeah.
So good. And yeah, Missing Link was not as good, but still, very well put together. So I'm very much excited for their new projects, which is always good. That and Hosoda's new film, which is apparently just like taking over the world. I absolutely need to see that.
What film is that?
I'm trying to remember. It's Belle, like Belle. Oh. He's going back to his real kind of Summer Wars style. Like, it's about a girl that lives online and crazy things happen, and it's like, it sounds like classic Hosoda, but one of those films that kind of only he can make actually be good.
Yeah.
Belle the Dragon and the Freckled Princess. Suzu, a teenager living with her father in a small town in the mountains. In a virtual world is known as You. Suzu is Belle, a musical icon. Which is just a very, very Hosoda type of setup. Like, only he could pull that off.
Well, hopefully we've given people, in our TV movie tangent, we've given people some things they might want to go look at in the interim between following our Firefly and the return of the Nevers, whenever that may be, because there's some really good stuff out there.
There really is. You just got to dig for it.
Just got to dig for it through some of Netflix not so successful titles. But yeah, definitely Dark Crystal worth a watch. Yeah, so thank you, Taheg, for joining me and talking endlessly about not just Jamestown, but everything in between. Would you?
Any excuse to talk.
Would you like to share any social media accounts that you have?
I am at The Hound Reacts on Twitter. I mostly share stuff from the YouTube channel and my comic reviews.
If you want to follow me online, you can have a look at my Instagram, which is LauraJP1721. And I've also recently started live streaming some games. Moving into October, we're going to do some Halloween scary games, which I don't play scary games because they scare me so much. I usually kind of like throw the controller down because it's just my instinct. But we'll talk about some other random movies next time, I'm sure. But thanks again for listening to this. See you guys.
Bye-bye. Everyone loves an origin story.
Everyone loves an origin story. As long as it's not right at the beginning and takes up half the movie. Like a lot of films. Like all superhero films.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's that thing where you come back to rewatch the movies and you're like, oh, this is actually kind of boring now because I've seen it 18 times. I know how Batman became Batman, damn it. No, not this Batman. This Batman's different. Actually, I'm quite excited to see the new Batman. just going off on another tangent about other things.
Yeah, I've got to say, I really trust Matt Reeves because his Planet of the Apes trilogy was fantastic. So if he can bring that level of quality to a Batman film, I'm very excited to see how that can play out. And yeah, obviously Arpat is a fantastic actor.
I've heard a little snippet of the music on Michael Giacchino, who is my favourite composer, on his Instagram, and it's very kind of more towards like the Tim Burton-esque Batman. Yeah, I'm very looking forward to the music in this as well, which I'm sure will only make the film better than whatever it's going to be. But I'm hoping it's going to be really, really good. But yeah, we'll talk about some other random movies next time, I'm sure.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure it was all good chat, so some of it will be salvageable. But yeah, sorry, Matt. It's your fault you put us together. Okay, stopping recording.